We are on take two with the Tape Trader's Guide to 90s Pro Wrestling. I apologize, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Chad Austin, the one, the only, the greatest of all time, maybe, for sticking with me through all this turmoil because I was not properly prepared. So, Chad, thank you.
Hey man, I hope you keep them tapes of the flubs right there. That whole last half hour. I hope you keep that and make a blooper reel.
Yeah, because it was a pretty bad on my part on that. So I apologize.
Well, I thought we started out a house of fire, and all of a sudden you said, "Oh, hang on there. We gotta. I see where this is going."
Yeah, it was not best form. Now was it?
Nah, that's great, man. It's good being on the show. How you doing?
So I'm a big time tape trader. That's how I first knew about you. That's how I first learned about MEWF. So let's start out because when I was a kid, I really wasn't a wrestling fan. I wasn't like a WWF fan or a WCW fan or NWA. I knew about wrestling, but I wasn't a fan until I got the internet, and I got the internet in 1992, and by some fucking chance, I just typed in something wrestling, and some dude's wrestling tape list came up. You remember the tape list? That's just like, everybody would list all the matches on each tape, and I think it was like, they'd sell them for like $15-20 a tape, to get them sent to you in the mail, and I'll never forget just like reading the tape list and like reading about like people that I knew about, but wrestling and like, for all these different companies I'd never heard of and didn't know anything about. And it kind of blew my mind. So if you don't mind, kind of, tell us about your start. Were you a wrestling fan growing up as a kid?
Oh, clearly. The first time I know about had the internet in 1992. Where do you live at? What planet are you from?
So the way it used to do, in the beginning, you had to pay per minute for the internet. And you used to get
Where were you living at? Like, what area of the country were you in when this happened?
San Jose, California.
Okay, you're on the West Coast. Okay, so they had the internet before New York did, and in that area. Okay.
Yeah, we used to get, my mom used to get discs. The old school discs, the CompuServe and Prodigy.
Yeah, right.
And
AOL.
What else? And AOL. And they used to do it by the hour. You'd get free hours of internet. You know what I mean? Because they charged by the minute. So my mom was she was a Nazi on how long I was on the internet for.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't really, I'm not an internet guy now, but I started watching wrestling. I mean, the earliest memories that I have of wrestling, I would say two of the earliest memories I got were when Greg Valentine broke Jay Strongbow's leg, and my dad said I was at the arena when Superstar Billy Graham beat Bruno, but I would have been 5.
Yeah.
So I would know. But yeah, I started recording tapes in '82 when VCRs came out, and they were like $400. The top loader, the Fisher top loader that had a remote control with a wire on it.
Oh, yeah.
I was recording tapes, and I would fake being sick all the time, go to school, because wrestling was coming on sometimes during the week, and my mom would come home and feel all bad and bring me a blank tape. Oh, and I just thought I was to catch me out with all these old wrestling tapes. You know what? I even got tapes where I recorded them. Like when I was in the 5th grade, I was on some little kids talk show. It was a local game show for like 5th graders, and I didn't want to miss championship wrestling from WWF in the morning, so I hooked up an audio tape recorder next to the TV, and I played the show for an hour. And when I was done recording a stupid TV show, I came home and listened to Kevin Terry talk about how he's going to beat up scrawny-legged Tony Atlas. And I've been off ever since.
Yeah. I mean, and it's weird. I try to kind of explain to people because, YouTube is a lot of fun and that's great and everything, and it's great being able to just kind of type in whatever and you find it and you can watch it. But there was something about like the struggle of the search, like finding things you'd never heard of or you've never seen, or finding those things that other people talked about and you didn't have. And it was all about just accumulation, about having for me at least, for me it was about, I wanted everything.
I understand. Yeah. Because I got lucky on the East Coast. I got WWF TV twice a day. And then it wasn't until 82 when cable came around that I got Florida, I got TBS, and then I picked up some channel in Philadelphia on a bullshit channel, 57 Philadelphia, that had a block of UWF World Class.
Ooh.
And then UWF again.
Yeah.
So, there was a guy, I don't know if you know this guy, back, we talking about the olden days of tape trading. There was a guy named Steve Friedlander. I don't know if you ever heard this guy.
The Friedlander sounds pretty familiar.
He had a list that was so big, he would charge you $15 just to have him print the list and send it to you.
Yeah. Oh, him and, I don't know do you remember John McAdams?
No, John McGavins or McAdams?
McAdams.
No, I don't think I know that guy.
John McAdams. There was Jeff Lynch.
Yeah, Jeff Lynch. I got so many Jeff Lynch tapes over here. I'm gonna fucking die of Jeff Lynch tapes.
There was a guy named George Mayfield. Do you remember him?
I actually know George. Yeah.
Dude, are you serious?
Why, you don't know him?
No, I mean no. He used to do the Mayfield Diaries, where he'd go to Japan and he'd film everything that he did while he was in Japan.
Yeah, that's how I know him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I used to buy tapes from him when I was a kid, but that was 15, 20 years ago.
Christ, I got so much stuff from him. I got Christ, I don't know what it's a Michinoku Pro. It's supposed to be a long sleeve shirt, but I'm 5'8", and apparently an extra large is Japanese is 5'2", and so I can't wear that. And then he got me not the Matsunaga. What's the other?
Mr. Pogo?
No, the other white meat babyface guy, Kentaro, the guy that Kevin Sullivan mauled on Twitter.
Oh, Wing Kanamura. The winger.
Yeah, I have one of his shirts, but it's also an extra large. But yeah, it doesn't and yeah, I bought a lot of stuff from George. Oh, I prepaid for it, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know all them guys. Like I've never ever met Roy Looser.
Uh-huh.
So somehow we became great friends, and we were possibly trading tapes back in the 90s, and all these guys, and I had built up a collection of tapes, and I thought I was like the tape king of the world.
Right.
I'm in Baltimore, and I got Memphis from 1993 or 87. I'm like, nobody's got this shit.
Right.
Me, And then all of a sudden I met all these other guys, and I'm like, wow, then everything just blew up, and you know how it's going right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was such a moment in time, It was super 90s. Tape trading was super 90s because it was so underground. And, everything was kind of edgy and underground in the 90s. And, like, it was that was the cool thing, was to do shit that wasn't mainstream, Like, for me at least, because I wasn't a WWF fan and I wasn't a WCW fan. And that didn't mean that I didn't watch that stuff or whatever, but like I wanted to find the stuff from New England. I wanted to find stuff from New England. I wanted to watch Dennis Corluzzo's stuff from New Jersey, and that's what I was far more interested in that, and I was far more interested in the idea of the journeyman pro wrestler, because that was so foreign to me in the 90s because of the WWF and WCW, like it wasn't this
journeyman pro wrestler, which I guess should lead me into something here. I hope you're not going to play Frankenstein in the background and have me run out the front door.
No, so like coming up, finding the MEWFs and finding the ACWs and the War Zone Wrestling from Oklahoma and all these kinds of things was just so. It made me such a bigger fan than I would have been if I just was watching regular old TV, and
it's funny you say that, because when you say you were always looking for something different, so was I. Like when I started meeting these guys like the Lynches and the Roys and all these other guys, like I would watch whatever was on TV, but it didn't sink in.
Right? Yes.
Because I would still come across the list where it had a match against Bobby Duncombe against Nick Bockwinkel from Southwest Wrestling.
Yes!
And I was like, I want to see something like that.
I wanted to...
Frank Williams and Blackjack Mulligan.
I wanted to watch Nails versus Max Moon from NEWF. Just,
oh yeah, MEWF, man. MEWF, they were cutting edge for a while, honestly.
I mean, honestly, they were a carbon copy of ECW before ECW was even ECW, really. You know, because...
Well, there's a lot to be said about that, and then basically you got to start with the Maryland State Athletic Commission.
Uh-huh. So...
MEWF would have been on the I would say it would be on the right track, but it wouldn't have been an ECW, but it was on the right track, but because of the hindering of the Maryland State Athletic Commission, it became, you know, a little bit of less of a production.
Right. So I kind of jumped ahead a little bit. So let's back up a little bit and kind of bring me through your training and how did that all go about? Who did you meet? Did anyone steal a bunch of money from you and run off? You know, how was that experience in coming up into the business in itself? How did you find out? Did you go to a school? Was it by chance meeting or what was it?
Oh, I got lucky and I had an uncle. I have an uncle that did jobs for the WWF and he was a Maryland guy. He started out in Maryland and he had a wrestling school. He had a wrestling ring, I should say, in this 17 by 17 concrete garage. The ring was 16 by 16. So there was no chance you were taking backdrop.
Right.
You definitely weren't going to the top rope. And I was, you know, I'd go over there because I was a wrestler mark, you know, and at that time in 90, 91, we had UIW, we had MEWF, we had ASWA, and then I started meeting guys like Axel Rodney, who became one of my better friends. Like guys like the Surgeon, guys like Playboy Bobby Starr, who can forget meeting that motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
And guys like my uncle's name was Barry Hardy. He was Barry Hardy and Dwayne Gill.
Oh yeah, sure.
Dwayne Gill there.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I was getting ready to put them over as something nobody knows about. Yeah, they were them guys. They were the Lords of Darkness. If you watch Carluzzo's WWA, they were them guys. And so I would go over there. I was a kid. I was probably 19, 20, and I would get in the ring, and I would be there with what they call a bumper boy. Because, you know, they all wanted to do elbow smashes and slam me and give me the big, you know, so I would do all that. And then I started putting the ring up with my good friend Jeff Jones, you know, who you might recall from ECW as the judge.
Sure, yeah.
On Twitter as Jeffrey B. Jones at Twitter. And guys like that, and we started putting the ring up, and after we put the ring up, we would get in the ring and wrestle, like dick around, and then we would film it. And then all of a sudden, I became like the best guy out of the group.
Right.
So I guess they needed somebody for a battle royal. Because, you know, the payroll wasn't the greatest in the MEWF around 1992. You know, they would send you to the concession stand and ask for Donna for the payday, and she would hand you a hot dog and a Coke, and then all of a sudden look at you and grab the Coke back. That's what the paydays were around that time. But after that, I just started wrestling. Like, I picked it up basically with nobody training me. I learned from just being in the ring with everybody. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's how I kind of learned. And I ended up becoming like not only a trainer, but one of the more higher up trainers. Like I became what was called a finishing guy. Like after you learn how to do the bumps, hit the ropes, you know, do all that stuff, I'd go in there and I'd give you 10 minutes, you know, 12 minutes, 8 minutes, and see like if you can put it all together. I became that guy, and then it all took off from there. Right back to my sofa. And Dundalk, Maryland. Shit. What a career. Yeah. I made hundreds of $9,000.
Well, I mean, you had a lot of great experiences, though. I mean, you definitely traveled and, you know, you got to be a part of quite a few things. I mean, I really want to talk about MEWF, especially because, you know, you're a two-time Mid-Atlantic champion. But
who can forget that? The YouTube pictures or whatever my pictures.
Every picture when I went looking for you to promote the show, every single picture that I found was of you in the title. Every picture.
No, I was honestly. what do they call that? The Triple Crown?
Yeah, yeah.
When you win. Yeah, because I started as the cruiserweight, and then I won the Mid-Atlantic, and then I won everything I did that was like Triple Crown was MCW.
Okay.
MEWF involved into a bigger company where they have more money and backers, and then they can bring in bigger stars. And then I became the tag champion with my buddy Dino, and then I became the heavyweight champion with my buddy Devine the Bruiser. So I was the first Triple Crown guy in MEWF / MCW.
Yeah. So like I was saying, I would think that a good portion of people who know about Chad Austin know about your time in ECW, and I want this to.
Are you kidding me? What are you talking about? I don't think anybody has ever seen me against New Jack on YouTube. I can't believe it.
I really do.
Totally discredit the 266,000 downloads.
and I want this to be about MEWF. I really do. But of course, I'm talking to you, and so I want this to be about you. And for lack of a better term, I want to get the elephant out of the room. Can we kind of go down? First of all, how did you get the opportunity to be a part of ECW, just in general, in the beginning?
To me, it's one of the greatest things ever. Everybody knows Ian Rodden, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Ian Rodden and me are not enemies. I have no problem with Ian. He never fucked me out of money. He never screwed me out of anything. So I had nothing bad to say about him other than what I hear everyone else says.
All right, yeah.
But he ran this 3-day extravaganza of wrestling in Maryland. We called it the WrestleMania of Maryland. Oh, we called it the Triple Shot Weekend of Love. That's what me and Axel called it. He booked everybody that was available for that weekend, and he didn't draw shit. Right?
Yeah.
And
not a lot's changed.
He had no money to pay anybody. So then Paulie was, from my understanding, allegedly, Paulie was brokering all these guys. So he was taking care of some of the leeway, all this stuff. And then Paulie was booked for a show for Ian, and I walked into the locker room and I told Ian that I was going to do a moonsault on Shane Shamrock, and he's going to be sitting in a chair. And from what I understand, Paulie said, "Hey, I want to see this." And I went out there and I did it. And then Paulie said, "Hey, we want to bring Axel and Ian up. Can you pick a couple of job guys to bring up with you?" But he requested me. So that's how I got my foot in the door. So I actually was there when Eddie Gilbert was there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
my first show was his last show, and believe me, that wasn't the greatest taste in my mouth.
And because you worked for ECW for about what, 2 years?
Probably 3.
Probably 3? Because, yeah, you were there for a while. Like, the whole thing with New Jack kind of gets, it gets talked about the most, but you were a part of quite a few of those tapings. They were doing it monthly, weren't they?
No, they were doing it monthly, man. Dude, I got a brilliant story about how my whole entire push, everything became about. I was just a jobber. Like, nobody would call me, or if somebody called me, it'd be last minute, or I didn't know who they were, and I would think it was a rib or whatever. But I was vacationing down at the Ocean Cities in Baltimore, Maryland, and my mom calls me out of nowhere and says, "Some guy named Paul Lee's been calling the house." And I'm only an hour from Philly. And I call back, and the guy says, "Where you at? We're waiting for you," or whatever. I drive all the way to Philly. Like, I speeded, I was driving all fast and crazy. And I get to Philly, and I see I'm wrestling Chris Benoit, Sabu, and Rockin' Rebel. And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck is so important about me being here? Like, I was just a job guy for these dudes. And come to find out, it was the whole angle was played out. I had a manager. I had Jason. I had a manager all of a sudden, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Am I getting a push all of a sudden? Yeah. And then it just became like, because I was the kind of guy that would sit in the locker room and I would watch every single match.
Right.
And I would, and I would watch everything, and I didn't bother anybody. And I think Paulie kind of like appreciated that. Like, I was a kid I was probably 22, 23.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking to learn.
Yeah.
But Sabu somehow had a problem with me. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it's the fact that somebody called me Chabu one time, and I put tape on my arm and said Chabu, and then Sabu requested to work me, and that didn't go so well. And then after that, there was a time, man, when they brought in. Do you remember Damien Demento?
Oh yeah, Mondo Clean.
Yeah, Mondo Clean, Eddie Mansfield's gimmick.
Yeah,
and Paulie brought him in, and he pulled me aside. He said, "Hey, I want you to work this guy." And I'm just thinking, like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know, whatever. And I worked the guy, and the match was so bad. Not only did it not air, Paulie pulled me aside and apologized to me.
Wow.
About booking me in the match with this guy. And I'm like, all right, whatever. You know? So, I mean, I didn't really have any, like, inside stuff. I just went along for the ride, you know?
Right. Especially, I mean, you're so young. I mean, this had to have been pretty, especially with your age and everything. I mean, did you know about the buzz that was happening with ECW at the time? Because 94 when you came in?
It was 93, like, you know, fall, whatever, went to 93, early 94. But I knew about the buzz because I read, well, I didn't really know about how big it was, but I knew about it because of Meltzer. But I didn't think anything more about it was, hey, I'm just getting one step closer to what I want to do. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it killed my career.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
So at the same time, you were going back and forth with MEWF, right? I mean, they were because I know a lot of guys from that ECW spent time, before it went to MCW, they were finding those off week bookings with MEWF. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was just like another date. Like nobody's gonna tell you can't work, you know, for independent. You know, there were certain things you couldn't do. You know, you're not gonna job. I guess you're not gonna, you know, job to the heavyweight champion or whatever.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But yeah, they're not gonna take you away from earning money. Nobody's ever done that, as far as I know.
Right. So, were there any other places or promoters that you were regularly working for at the time?
Oh shit, yeah. I mean, back then, like, the indies were really starting to, like, sprout before they are today.
Right.
Like, you were starting to see all the seeds being planted by guys that had been around back in the old days, and them guys kind of faded out because guys started getting smarter. And you know how wrestling's evolved.
Right.
And then, you know, and then I started hooking up with a guy from Martinsburg, which is an hour and 20 minutes away. And that would be another off week. And then I hook up with a guy like in Reading, Pennsylvania, which is an hour away, and that'd be an off week. So you can get 3-4 days out of a weekend.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
If you were decent enough, I would guess. I worked for ATCW, which is Atlantic Terra. I mean, John Rambo, his NWF. You can't forget about that.
Yeah. That's been going on for like 30. He's been running that for like 30 years, man. It seems like it's been forever.
I think it was running for 30 years before he took it over. Like, he just hopped on the bandwagon at 30. Oh, that's 30 more years. That was 60 years to run this thing. Yeah, I love all the guys that decided, hey, pro wrestling is not a shitty, hokey thing anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're going to run better shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've always said that, you know, the whole wrestling boom, you know, I know the credit's given to the NWO and then the Attitude Era, but I've always felt, especially being a tape trader during that time, it was the indies that really created that boom because well,
let me ask you this, man, because now I think you're going down to something that I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
When you were trading tapes, just say during the Nitro times, during the Monday Night Wars, how many times did you see a sign out in the crowd that had a guy's phone number on it, or had an insider wrestling term like a website or any of that shit?
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever thought about anybody giving any credit to that being why wrestling was so hot then?
Oh,
I honestly can't think of Kurt Hennig versus Goldberg as to making me want to go to the Georgia Dome, and my hard-earned money.
Oh,
I think the fact you can get on TV, if you can have a sign that says, "Hey, Shane, suck it," or whatever.
I think that was a huge part of it, you know, and like I said, one of the reasons why I think that I call the podcast the Tape Trader's Guide to 90s Pro Wrestling is because the whole tape trader culture, that whole culture, that subculture during that time period was exactly what pop culture was in general, you know, and so when you would see the crowds on Raw or on Nitro and you'd see the sea of signs everywhere. And everyone was dressed up like South Park characters, and you know everyone was drunk and rabid, and that feeling made it so much more exciting to watch either on TV or to buy a ticket and go there and watch it live.
It almost wasn't a wrestling event; it was just an event.
When I run shows here in Tennessee, you know, one of the things that I do is when I'm promoting, especially online or whenever I'm out street promoting and talking to people and people are, you know, interested in coming or they buy tickets or whatever, I always tell them, bring signs, you know, bring lots of signs, come dressed up like your favorite pro wrestler, come in cosplay, you know, whatever, because I want to create an event, you know, where everyone in that building is rabid for that event and wants to come and take part and be part of the show. And so I always tell them, you know, like if you come dressed up, if you come with signs, we're going to get you on camera. You know, it might only be a DVD. It might only be, you know, iPay-per-view since there's not TV anymore. But we're going to get you on camera and we're going to push the fact that, you know, we'll take pictures and put you on social media, make them feel like they're stars, you know?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, it used to be to the point where it was all just signs. You couldn't see heads.
Yeah, yes.
All you saw was signs. And it was just everything. It just made everything to seem more bigger than what it was. So who wouldn't want to go? Some 22, 23-year-old guy on a Monday night, get all drunk up with his friends and put an NITRO on their chest and have a sign that says, you know, my dad's a fag. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Of course. I mean, they didn't leave out of there knowing that Chris Adams defeated Alex Wright in 6.5 minutes. They didn't garner any of that information.
Yeah, they just wanted to scream and have a good time. Yeah, I totally agree, man. I think that's spot on.
I also want to pull it back to the first guy who was the sign guy.
Yeah.
Paul Bellows.
Yeah, in the ECW arena.
That's the guy. Like everybody wants to give like ECW or whatever all that stuff credit. I go Paul Bellows. Is the guy that made it cool to be a wrestling fan.
Well, and there was something about that group of fans that sat right there in those same seats for every show that really inspired people to go and watch indie wrestling. And I don't know why. It's such a weird thing, but you know, and I don't know him. But the guy with the sign...
Well, they were also good looking. I mean, you had, clearly they were all just a bunch of hunks that people just wanted to go and watch whatever they were watching. You know, the Hawaiian shirt guy.
Yes.
You had the one guy who was like Buck Robley.
Yes.
You had his brother, and then you had Bellows, and then you had the Rats. You know, the girls that we all loved. You know, the Mary Kates and the Bellas. I mean, I don't say Rats in a bad way.
No.
They were the ones that would drive us like to and from the hotel to the building, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, they're the backbone. They're the backbone.
Oh yeah, and Fitz. Don't forget. Yeah, backbone. But don't forget about Fitz. You know, Fitz was a ticket taker, and she was a T-shirt seller.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But all them guys, the best part is everybody wants to think they're part of the show,
and that's exactly what it is.
And because they're so smart, because they read Meltzer, and they think they can go out there with the signs with a little bit of an inside thing. Like, I know Cactus Jack's kid's name, King Dewey. Right. You know, that's great. And that also helps. All that shit helps the big entire picture. Yeah.
It definitely, you know, there was just a feel to the time period that, you know, it can never be created. But I for one, I'm glad that, you know, I got to experience it and watch it. And you know, it definitely inspired me later on to get into the business, especially when I moved here to Nashville, and so I definitely think that everything that took place in the '90s it's something that people nowadays they just can't understand. They literally just can't understand what it was like when it was that hot. You know, when
it wasn't at your fingertips.
Yes, yeah.
That's the problem. It wasn't at your fingertips. You couldn't just go click on and watch it. You had to actually drive 2.5 hours to see it, or you had to find the guy that had a tape of copy of it. And you go, what the fuck? You know, who had this?
And and like things like, you know, like Fan Week with Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling Fan Week. Like things like nowadays, you know, there's WrestleCon, WrestleCade, everything. You know, there's you can go see legends at your local Holiday Inn in droves. But back then, you didn't see stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it just wasn't that way.
Yeah, the good thing is that if there's an opportunity for guys that are no longer making money in the business, they have an outlet to tell their story and meet their fans and get their shit out there. That is the best thing that came out of all this.
Yeah.
I mean, kayfabe or no kayfabe anymore, whatever it is the fact that you can go to a WrestleCon and you can see I'll just throw out a name, Bundy.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
yeah.
guys like that, you know, that you appreciated, you know, give them $15-20 for a goddamn picture.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, man, you're worth $20 in my life that I spent watching you as a kid.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest thing to me that's came out of all this. I mean, nobody's actually asked me to go to the WrestleCon and be and have a booth because I don't want to be the guy that has less people in line than Virgil. I have a sign that says WW. It says WW nothing. And it says super, and then it says Chad Austin.
I think you'd be surprised at how many people would come and see you, though, to be honest with you, man. Like, you know, this year at WrestleCade, I believe it's going to be an ECW 25th anniversary deal. So this might be your year, man.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be. It could be my year. They're gonna dig back into that. It could be my year because I'm probably one of the only guys that are still alive.
Yeah, and you know, your signature has to be worth more than others because there's so few of them.
Yeah, there was a time I would say probably around December of '94. Where the only, what you would call ECW originals, was me, Sandman, Axel, Taz, and Dreamer.
Right, yeah.
Because we were there during Eastern Championship Wrestling, and I even remember the show that I worked for ECW where they debuted the new intro with the 9 Inch Nails.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The White Zombie gimmick.
Yeah.
It was at a Hispanic town somewhere in Pennsylvania. I worked, do you remember when Taz was doing that gimmick where he was not Taz anymore, he was Taz?
Yes, yeah. Before he became the suplex machine, when he had just stopped being the Tasmaniac. Yeah. Well, they had just debuted that on TV, and then we were doing this house show, and Paulie was telling me the story about how this is what we want to do. We're going to do a promo where I'm going to bring him out, and I'm going to tell everybody who he is now, and then you're going to keep calling him Tasmaniac. Uh-huh.
And then eventually you're going to have, you know, he's going to get
he's going to snap.
Kind of
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I got you, right? So I get out, we get out there, and it's a hillbilly Mexican Hispanic town. I just covered. I throw in some blacks too, why don't you? And some Asians. Fuck, I just insulted everybody. Didn't mean to. But it was really, there was hay on the floor. You know, it was like a cow palace. And as a matter of fact, the main event was Hector Guerrero against Shane Douglas. I mean, you could have fucking telling me what the people that were buying tickets were there. And so me and Taz were going over our business, and this guy, I swear to God, he threw me out to the floor, man, and he said, just charge at me. And I charged at him, and he gave me a judo throw. And I must have slid about 8 feet and into the guardrail stopped me from sliding. My feet pressed up against it, right? But listen to this, Justin. We get back into the ring, and he throws me in, and he says he calls for a reverse, and then he says Frankensteiner. Well, I must have jumped either too early or he was a second behind me.
Uh-huh.
But I jumped in the air. He wasn't there. He caught my feet midair, and he literally just laddered my legs up for a powerbomb. Right? And I swear after that, I was like, man, I had a whole new respect for you, dude. You're a beast, man. I mean, you pulled that shit off. Yeah, but ECW was great. But my problem is that not only was I taking a beating on a routine basis, is that my goal was, I mean, I really was, man. If you go back and watch the Sandman versus me from Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
That I've never gotten beaten up in real life more than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because not only did I take a beating from the Sandman, a legitimate ass whooping, I had to stick around for 10 cane shots from the Sandman, and then I had to get a cane shot from Mikey afterwards.
Right.
So there was an angle involved. So I took a fucking beating. Woman caned me. Sandman beat me. Oh my God, it was hellacious.
Hey, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, my goal was I always wanted to work like Southern style, Memphis, Smoky Mountain.
Right.
That was my goal. ECW was my foot in the door for me. I knew I wasn't going to be a Sabu guy. I wasn't going to be a Terry Funk guy. I wasn't going to do all that shit.
Right.
But go ahead.
So, well, I was just going to say, like, your gimmick was kind of, you know, the underdog guy that got his ass beat. You know, I mean, it was kind of you going out there and working the Sabu and the Taz and the Sandman and kind of getting your ass beat is kind of your whole thing. So
I was Mikey.
I was Mikey yes.
Before Mikey. See, the problem is I fucked all that up. Like nobody told me about this. You know, I wasn't privy to the fact that I was going to be an underdog guy. I just thought that I was just getting my ass beat to the point where these guys are beating me up. And I got to drive, 200 miles, 150 miles home at night. And, I'm getting beat up every night. And I remember, if you watch Heat Wave 94, you ever seen that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, I'll pat myself on the back. Dave Meltzer gave it a 3 3/4 stars. And granted, it was the second or the third match on the show.
Right.
So that's exactly what that show needed, right?
Right.
At that point, you need a 3 3/4 star match. And the fact was afterwards, Paulie had a promo that he wanted me to cut. And I totally fucking forgot every single word.
Oh.
The only thing I remember was he wanted me to be a Bruce Pritchard, I love you guy, but I hate you. And that was the only thing that I could remember during the promo. And if you watch the match, that's the only thing I said. Was I called everybody a bunch of scumbags, and then I just said, I hate you. And then I pulled out a pair of brass knuckles out of my shorts, and I told the referee that I cheated. But the whole gimmick was I was supposed to tell everybody that I hated him so much I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of a title change. I was going to cheat, but it went totally over my head, and I had no idea because I was in the middle of a great match on Mikey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about angles. Yeah. But that cost me my job, basically. That and Smoky Mountain and WCW. And in Memphis. That all cost me my job, ultimately.
So at this time, were you working for both USWA and Smoky Mountain as well?
No, they were all. Smoky Mountain was just a stop on the way to USWA.
Okay, so that was what, 95?
Yeah, I would say so because after I had run through the locker room, non-physically speaking about going over, after everybody in the whole entire locker room demolished me. Did you ever see the tape of Shane Douglas burying me and then the whole entire locker room coming out and throwing me over the top rope?
Yes, yeah, I've seen that.
Dude, them motherfuckers are gonna throw me. If you watch closely, you'll see me grab a hold of the top rope because they were gonna throw me like Spike Dudley into the crowd. And I wasn't having that. I wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah. So
my goal was just to get to Memphis. Was what it was.
Okay, so you were down with that Memphis style. So I guess that's kind of when you first got to ECW, and that was Eddie Gilbert's last show. Kind of killed that whole hopes and dreams of that of being connected with that, right?
Yeah, me and Eddie, like we got close very quick, but very short.
Yeah. So
Eddie was always a hero of mine, and the time that I got to meet him, I also got to be privileged to be like hanging out with him for the weekend. So that was like 20 years wrapped into 2 days.
So
you know what I mean?
how was he at that time? Because I've heard a lot of stories that before he passed, like he was pretty he was pretty deep into his personal demons, and he was paranoid, and I've just heard that he was not that he was ever difficult to deal with. I've never heard he was difficult to do business with, but I have heard that he spent his personal demons were noticeable at that time.
I have no idea, man. I mean, keep in mind that at this time I was still probably 23 years old.
Uh-huh.
So the fact that I was handling, I'll give it to you this way. Put it this way: the same weekend I was handling Eddie Gilbert, I was handling Kerry Von Erich.
Right.
So, I mean, who do you think I spent more time worrying about? How they were.
Yeah. We definitely know about Kerry during that period of time. I mean,
yeah, but as far as Eddie, all it was for Eddie was the show was in the same building as the hotel.
Uh-huh.
After the match, I'd carry his stuff up to his room, and then he would tell me thank you, and then I'd just say, all right, well, roll call or meeting at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, all right, brother, and then that kind of stuff. It
right.
wasn't like he's going to bike me to his room and go, hey, bike it in. I don't know what it was, but whatever the fuck. But just drugs in general. Just he never did any of that because he wasn't. To me, in my time with him, it was like I said, 48 hours. It was all business, and there wasn't a problem whatsoever.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about your short trip through working with Burt Prentice.
Whoa, that was a tremendous trip.
Yeah. Not
at all. I went to work for him one summer, probably around 95.
Yeah. Remember, I just uploaded all that Ozark Mountain stuff on YouTube. Remember?
But there was stuff before that.
Oh, really?
Like I went down there with Ian Rotten when he was living in Louisville, and me and his wife, or I don't know if she was his wife or not, whatever. But we all drove down to work for Burt, and we did like a week or so, and then Johnny called Burt back, and Burt didn't want Johnny, he wanted me.
Uh-huh.
Because I did a whole bunch of high flying, rigmarole.
Right. Yeah.
I did some hippity hoopla out there, and so he wanted me back. So I called Burt, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to come out there, because Randy Hales has got me starting in USWA on X amount of dates, and I'll come out like a couple weeks before, just because basically the reason why I wanted to work there is I wanted to work every night.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
I wanted to get more ring time in.
Yeah.
And so I get down there, and dude, the first night I was there, it was the best. I flew into Arkansas, Jonesboro. I had to catch a thing called the Betty bus. And then they took me all the way to West Memphis, Arkansas, to some little fucking Mickey Mouse armory. Yeah, where I was in a separate locker room with people I didn't know. And then somebody tells me, hey, you're wrestling a guy named Billy McClarty for 10 minutes. And I go, well, point him out. And they go, no, he's in the other locker room. And I'm thinking oh boy, howdy, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. So we go out there, and there's no chance I was calling any high spots. I mean, how can you?
Right.
And afterwards, we did a Broadway. There was a guy named, his name then was Christian Devereaux. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he Brian Logan?
Oh yeah, that sounds the right time.
Well, Burt had this guy named Brian Devereaux who was his top babyface. It was kind of right before the Colorado Kid, right?
Uh-huh.
And I had nowhere to stay. I had no ride. A bus dropped me off in West Memphis, Arkansas, and I meet this guy because I knew I was going to starve going down there, right, Justin?
Yeah.
I was going to starve.
Oh yeah.
So I saved up like $3,000. And I go down there and I tell this kid, I was like, hey, you want to get a hotel room together? I'll pay.
Uh-huh.
Because it's my first night in. So, shocker, he goes, yeah. And then guess where we go? If you're in Memphis and you work for the USWA or anybody affiliate, you go to the Admiral Bimbo.
Uh-huh.
It's right there on Union Avenue. It's $40 a night if you tell them you're a wrestler for USWA. And we go to the Admiral Bimbo, we get a room, and then I said, hey, listen, man, let's go out and go down Bourbon Street or Beale Street or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Memphis.
yeah.
And let's go tear it up. So me and him went down there. I paid for everything. We got tore up. we went to BB King's joint. Next thing I know, me and him are on the stage dancing with transvestites, and the whole, it was brutal, right? I mean, I probably dumped a few $100 in tequila, and we get back to the hotel room, and the next morning I wake up and the dude's gone, and I call down to the lobby because my bag is gone.
Oh.
And I called down to the lobby and I said, "Hey man, what happened?" The guy goes, "Some lady called in the middle of the night and told him that he better get home." And he had to drive all the way back to Knoxville, like in the middle of the night, all fucked up, when he left my bag down at the lobby. So my first night in, not only did I chase Burt Prentice's top babyface away, right? I had no idea how to work a match with a guy that doesn't know anything about what you do.
Oh.
So I was off to a fantastic start. and if you watch the rest of the Ozark Mountain Run, you can clearly see I was pushed to the heavens.
Yeah, yeah.
He thought I was Roman Reigns over there.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, that had been a pretty exciting experience, you know, with you wanting to do the Memphis style, because, you know, at the time Ozark had Buddy Landell, Tommy Rich, Bill Dundee, Lawler would come through.
Not at my time, man. At my time, I came in right in between that. At my time, I had just came in on the end of Cactus.
Okay.
And then at this point, I guess you would say Burt was resetting, because he was having a building built in Jonesboro with the Jonesboro Sportatorium. You know, and it was basically an aluminum shed, is what it was. It was a big aluminum shed, but we had Bill, we had Dundee, we had Terry Golden, we had Bull Payne, we had Samantha, we had me, we had Colorado, and we had some big 7-foot jabroni name. I don't know what his name was, Giant, whatever you call a 7-foot guy, Giant, whatever, you know, a big guy, the big dude. But that guy was terrible. But yeah, that's all we had, because I guess Burt was going through a transition at the time.
That must have been before he came to Nashville. Like right before he came to Nashville.
Yeah, it was, because I think he was setting up the end of his heist for Jonesboro. You know what I mean? Like he was already plotting the end of his angle for ripping off Jonesboro for wrestling. So he was going to move to Nashville.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So he basically starred me. We had Brickhouse too. We had Brickhouse.
He was my first trainer. The first person I ever trained from was Brickhouse.
Yeah, I used to drive him to Evansville because paydays used to be so bad working for Burt. Like, they used to pay you every night. And then when guys wouldn't show up the guys wouldn't show up for Evansville. I mean, shocker, history of that.
Right.
So Burt made that payday night. So we had to drive to Evansville to get paid.
Yeah,
and I got to work. Do you remember Mike Samples?
Yes, I 100% remember Mike Samples.
Well, I got to work him, and it was the first time I ever got to experience the invisible thumb, the invisible gimmick. I've never dealt with that before.
Right.
You know, like me and him had separate locker rooms. We didn't talk. We get out there. He grabs me in the headlock. He drags me across the top rope, and he goes, "Sell the gimmick." And then he hits me in the throat. And then I'm like, "You didn't do anything, but you know." And he's like, "Just sell it." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And he kept putting it back in his trunks, and the referee kept searching him, and he kept hiding it. He had nothing.
Yeah.
He hadn't. But I was like, that was the first time I ever worked with like somebody like that.
Did you get a lot of time with Terry Golden?
I live with Terry Golden.
Tell me about Terry.
He's probably my second or third favorite guy in the business that I've ever met besides Bull Payne. Yeah, Terry took me in when I had nowhere to go. I lived with Bull for a while. It was me, Bull, and Billy Jack Haynes living together.
Oh, I bet that was fucking insane.
No, honestly, I wouldn't have a bad thing to say about Billy Jack. I've heard the stories. I've watched the shoots. I've seen everything. That guy was not only so good to me and Bull that when he left $100 on the countertop, and he left a pair of his boots there.
That's good for you to say that, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to be able to hear, because so many people, me included, you know, I don't know him, so I only know what I see when I watch those shoots and things like that, you know, and So it's nice to hear shit like that.
He told me the stories, and I was like, "Wow, that's cool, man."
Wow. So
but Terry was like, do you remember when Terry started Kick-Ass Wrestling?
Yes, I have the whole run on DVD here, every single episode.
That was his idea. I was still down there. But wasn't there a tag team called the Itty and Bitties or whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that was my idea. I created them when I was living with Terry. And we had this idea, but we didn't think anything of it because we didn't have any money. We were just like, we were just milling around things we could do.
Yeah.
Because I used to team up with Derek King.
Oh man, one of my best friends what a fantastic dude. I fucking love Derek King.
We used to work for Moondog Spot, who I love to death, man. Larry will always have a special place in my heart. We used to work for him. He bought like a old 1950s car dealership, it had the old retro building, and there was no cars in there. And he would run a show it was a barn, and he would run a show in there. And he got a look at me, and I was doing toupees and wearing big hair and stuff. I was doing planchas, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he loved me, so he teamed me up with Derek. And when we came out, I think it was me. I want to say it was me, or maybe it was the fans. But I came up with the idea of calling us Buckwheat and Spanky. And if you guys think about it, he's got to remember it because we traveled together for a while. But the whole entire angle was Buckwheat and Spanky, and that's what we did. We just got beat up.
That's fantastic. That is Terry Golden and Derek King are two guys that I think are so underrated in a widespread wrestling fan knowledge kind of way, and I'm glad that you know both of them because Derek. As a matter of fact, every Christmas, me and Terry, even though we haven't talked since the time I lived with him, we still exchange, happy holidays. That's great. I really, when I first moved here to Nashville, the very first show I ever went to was a Burt Prentice show that he ran in the parking lot of a restaurant.
Sure.
And in fact, at that show, I'm 16 years old. It's the first time I'd ever been to an independent wrestling event live. And I watched Tracy Smothers. Changed your life, didn't it? It did. I watched Tracy Smothers punch a guy out in the front row, a fan who burned him with a cigarette. And not only did Tracy punch him and knock him out, but he rolled right back in the ring and finished the match with JC Ice without even looking back at this dude. It didn't even look at the guy again. But I got to see Terry Golden versus Mike Rapata, the Colorado Kid, in a scaffold match at the Tennessee State Fairgrounds that probably made me more of a wrestling fan than maybe anything else I'd ever seen. And it just fucking blew me away, dude. I watched these two guys beat the living shit out of each other, and it just blew me away. And I don't think enough people know who Terry Golden is just in general,
Terry was so great. He was so behind of his time. It was spectacular. He was so good at being somebody so old. He didn't know. He didn't know that times had changed. Mullets weren't in fashion anymore. Saying the word baby during a promo, wearing some kind of gator skin, singlet, looking like Jack Swagger wasn't the way wrestling was going.
Yeah.
But he was so good at doing that. But man, when Terry took me in, we just hooked it up, man.
Yeah.
We came up with ideas. Me, him, and Billy Jack started a wrestling school that I was the guy taking all the bumps. I didn't see one dime from it. I don't know where that money went. But I wouldn't have changed anything because even though my career didn't go I wouldn't say Hall of Fame worthy wise, I got to wrestle for everybody I wanted to wrestle for.
Yeah.
And one of the problems I have nowadays is that guys that want to work and end up going to Vince, you can't do what you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I was telling you during the pre-thing, I wrestled Moolah in May on an independence show.
Yeah.
And there was no agents. There was no anybody telling us we couldn't do anything. It's whatever they wanted to do.
Right. Yeah.
And who wants to go wrestle for, WWE and be on SmackDown and you got 7 minutes? Or, you know what I mean? And you got to get this shit in and tell the story.
And everything you say has to be scripted, and everyone they all have to work exactly the same. Because
there's sound fun.
Yeah, there's an expectation of how it has to look on TV because of the brand. So it's sad that there is no one, and there's such a large amount of talent that is just engulfed by the WWE because, you go there to make money. I mean, everyone wants to make money doing what they love doing, and if you're a wrestler, you want to go and make money no matter what. Not everyone can be the Young Bucks. So they have to go to the WWE. And they're top.
I never thought about, like, in my career, honestly, man, I'm 5'8", now I'm 170 pounds, but at the most I ever weighed was 205, 207, somewhere around there. But I knew I was never going to be on WrestleMania.
Right.
I knew that. My idea goal was to be the best jobber that I could be, because I always loved the jobbers.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, when Cornette saw me do a backdrop, I did this backdrop where I flip all the way over. I do a 360. And Cornette saw it, and he said that I've never seen anybody do that in 30 years. And that's the reason why he booked me, for Smoky Mountain. So that's all I wanted to be, was the best jobber ever. So anything extra I got out of that was just extra. And I was like, I'll take it, whatever the fuck.
But like you said, you had that experience of being able to just travel just all over the place. From the Northeast to the South. Did you ever work in California on the West Coast?
No, I think the furthest I went, it was literally the tip of Colorado. Like somewhere it was either Missouri or Colorado, where it was so far on the tip, it was almost not even that far of a drive. And I worked Colorado Kid, and I was like, wow, this is as far west as I've ever been. Because I always wanted to work Portland, but by the time
it was pretty much dead.
By the time I was having fun, and I started realizing I was learning my craft, and I was like, dude, I gotta go to Portland.
Yeah.
I'll have a ton of fun in Portland. But yeah, you're right, it was already dead.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything out there for me, and I wasn't working Lucha, and I clearly wasn't going to go 35 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah, the early to mid 90s were kind of rough, in the West Coast. There wasn't a ton of, there was obviously some places, but there wasn't a ton of stuff to do out there. So let's swing back up to MEWF. And so when your leg got broke, you were out for an entire year, right?
My leg never got broke.
It was never broken?
No, my leg was never broken.
So the rumor is that New Jack broke your leg.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it, and I've heard New Jack talk about it.
And
it's not true.
And supposedly that's where he got his finish. His finisher was based off of what he did to you, and that he broke your leg, and so he decided to start using that as the 187?
Yeah, I totally believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that he came out with that finish for that, but he didn't break my leg. And I'll give you this as a timeline. That match with New Jack and the Gangsters was taped on a Saturday. I had already had a plane ticket booked to Arkansas that Wednesday. I worked Billy McClarty that Thursday, and I started working for Burt that Friday. So if I had a broken leg, either he's lying about it, or I had the greatest human capacities of all time. But what he's saying is that if you watch the tape, he did catch me right in the corner of my kneecap. And there's one shot where you can see me grab my leg, and because he caught me in a little groove. and then Mustafa started kicking me, and he goes, "Get the hell out of here! New Jack's gonna kill you!" while he's kicking me, and I'm going "What the fuck did I do?" Right? What did I do? And then I hear all the stories about what New Jack was saying about how everything went. Man, I think I've already told the story on other shows and stuff, so it's not old hat. But here's how it went. You walk up to a door, and it says Blue Meanie Chad Austin versus Gangsters. You walk over to the Gangsters, And you realize that me and Blue Meanie, I mean, do you think I don't realize that me and Blue Meanie aren't going over the exit? No. I would have to be completely an idiot to believe that. You know what? Hey, New Jack, this is what I want you to do.
Right.
Hey, Mustafa, when I give you the icky, you lay down.
Right, right.
It wasn't, so we walk over there, and here was the whole, Justin, I swear to God, this was the whole entire conversation. We walk over there, and I say, hey, New Jack, I'm Chad, and they already knew Meanie. And New Jack goes, Meanie, you go with Mustafa. Chad, you go with me. That was it.
So from the get-go.
There wasn't no like, oh, this guy wanted to do this, and this. He wanted to get his stuff in. Fuck no. I'm not a fool. I'm not thinking I'm going to go out there and outshine New Jack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything he said was just to get himself over. Because me and New Jack have, like, I wouldn't say patched things up because our last interaction wasn't the greatest in the world either. But he's kind of overlooked that thing about where he didn't break my leg. And by the way, here's a little caveat.
Uh-huh.
At the end of the night, New Jack's the guy that left in an ambulance.
Oh.
Because I walked back to the locker room to shake his hand, and he was laying on a table having back spasms, and his back was all fucked up. And I was like, how are you fucked up by beating me up?
They really took a lot out on you.
Apparently, man, he's not in shape to beat somebody up at this point. I don't know. Yeah, but that was I heard all them stories and all that stuff, and I'm like, man, that's him selling his brand. That's
right.
All it is, you know. I'm not. All I can say is he didn't break my leg because I'm not gonna shit on my brand by going, yeah, I got my leg broke, my New Jack, buy my T-shirt.
So okay, well I'm glad you cleared that up. I mean, honestly, because I literally, you know, I remember the shooter interview where he talked about it, but when I was looking you up today, I literally read that today. You know what I mean? So that's why it was fresh in my mind. So kind of bring us back to MEWF, because I really want to, before we wrap everything up, I you know, any stories you have about like Morgus the Maniac, any of those guys that were, those were the guys that were such a big part of my childhood, to be honest with you, you know, like the Devon Storms and the Ace Darlings and Axel Rotten, and just, you know, how did it turn into MCW? Because I think I remember that a little bit more than MEWF, just because if I remember correctly, that the tapes look better. The video quality of the tapes looked a lot better than the earlier stuff did. You know,
we had money started coming in.
Yeah. Because the handhelds were on the floor instead of just a tripod.
Well, most of the handhelds were probably shot by Bobby Starr.
Uh-huh.
Because I must have probably 150, 200 MTW shows or MEWF shows, and a lot of them were shot by Bobby Starr. He would set up a hard cam. Nobody would work it. It'd just be a corner shot of the ring.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and that kind of stuff. So there wasn't a whole lot put into it, but if I'm not mistaken, there's a guy named Dan McDevitt who basically owns MCW, and me and Axel trained him.
Uh-huh.
And this kid, man, I can't say enough about how passionate, you know, and enthusiastic. I've never seen a kid that young just want to suck everything up so much.
Right.
So he decided this is not a work either, Justin. Like, he decided he wanted to invest some of his own money into the MEWF, and the MEWF was just a Ronald McDonald Miller scam. You know, it was like, we're going to run shows to get by, make a few $100.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
So he had to prove himself, and they were like, well, we're going to steal this Mark's money.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Sure.
But Danny wasn't that fucking stupid. You know, he kept an eye on that shit. And all of a sudden, we all started booking shows, and then we're like, how can we make this better? You know, who can we bring in? What do we need? Whatever. And then it was basically like 7, 8, 9 of us that all made it happen. Ramblin' and Rich, Pearl to Pearl. I mean, RJ the Bruiser. There's a ton of guys that we all just made it happen. Whether it was handing out tickets or the wrestling school, Mark Schrader, you know, a ton of guys were involved.
So, you know,
and we all just started it together.
He was one of the first guys that I remember actively selling his own best of tape on the tape boards. You know, and autographed 4x6s. You know, Mark the Shark.
Oh, Mark Schrader,
yeah. Like he's one of the first guys though that I actively remember being an indie guy in the groups selling his own stuff. You know, getting his own stuff out there, his own gimmicks. You know, which because you know, I mean, even today, I mean, if you go to a show, if there's 15, 16 wrestlers booked on the card, 3 of them have gimmicks. Everyone else is sitting in the locker room. You know, like.
How else are you gonna make money? That's how you know that's how you know who's making money at the show.
Yep, that's exactly how you know who's making money and who cares. You know, that's how you know who's getting themselves out there. You know, and they've got a plan.
75% of the guys are walking out of there telling the promoter, "Thank you for having me on the show," and then there's 25% of the guys that are getting an envelope. There's money in it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like these are guys that I think deserve a spotlight. Morgus the Maniac was one of the he's one of those dudes that I thought he was actually crazy. Do you know what I'm saying?
He is. But that's not me putting Morgus over and saying this is a work. And the Morgus is crazy. Yeah, he is.
So
there is absolutely no chance of you calling a match with Morgus. Absolutely zero chance. Because you can walk up to him, and you know, me and Maurice are like great friends. Me and my girlfriend Jessica, we went over to his house for his birthday. Actually, I'm sorry. It was a little thing because it was his wife dying, and we went over there and we talked about stuff, and I was like, Morgus, you just can't remember shit, can you? And he's like, no. And yeah, you can go in there and talk to Morgus, but when you go out to the ring, once he hears a couple of yeahs, he's Morgus the Maniac, and he is like Braun Strowman strong. That guy if he throws you, he could throw you.
Yeah, his look was so fantastic, man. I mean, he looked like an escaped mental patient. I really believe that's what I bought his shit. He was real to me.
Well, if I can tell you a real quick Morgus story,
yes,
and you will probably agree, was we were wrestling on a show for John Rambo for the NWL somewhere around Hagerstown, one of the offshoot towns. And Morgus was running late, and we were all wondering, like, Morgus is never late. And Morgus shows up, and I walk over and I was like, Maurice, what happened? He goes, I got pulled over. I go, why? He goes, I was smoking a joint. And I said, well, how did he know? He goes, I had the window down. He saw the smoke coming out. And I said, what happened? Like, did you get in trouble? And he pulled the rest of the joint out. He goes, no. He let me go. Because there's no doubt that Morgus just looked at the cop, and that cop said, yeah, I ain't got time for this. You know what I mean? I ain't got time for this.
Well, yeah, the next time you talk to him, you just make sure that he knows that, you know, that he left a lasting impression on me. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate his work for sure.
With some jabroni from Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
I was telling him, hey, Maurice, man, you know, there's a kid out there in Hickory, Tennessee that he got the mark on.
Tell me about working with a young Devin Storm.
I don't have a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot of experience. I think I've worked them like 2 or 3 times. And the only thing that we had, we did have a little bit of what? Why? Did you hear anything?
No.
Did you hear something? I don't know. Why are you bringing him up? I mean, did you hear something?
No. He was just, you know, one of those, a part of that MCW, MEWF time period.
That's because we were working close with like all the local partners. Because you know, being like we were all, I wouldn't say like a feeder system for ECW, but we were an eyes. You know, they had eyes.
Sure, yeah.
So guys like Devin Storm were being recommended to guys to people like Danny and Dennis.
Right.
Hey, can you book this guy? Or Dennis Carluza or other guys would say, hey, can you book this guy because WWE's looking at him.
Right.
So, yeah, but when I worked him, there wasn't any chemistry, and I don't know why it wasn't. Like, it just didn't happen. Like, I mean, it wasn't any personal thing. Like, I think I remember him telling me I was holding a hammerlock too tight. And I was thinking, me? Like, nobody's ever accused me of doing anything. Like my offense, I barely even get offense. And when I do, you're telling me it's too tight? Like, you know, that kind of stuff. So I don't have anything to say about Devin. It's just that I think our styles are probably too similar to have a good match.
Okay. What about King Kalua?
Oh, boy, thank God I never had to really work that motherfucker.
Tell me why.
Well, I mean, if I did, it would have been in the 6-man, and because there's no chance I'm going to get a match out of him. It's going to be his match, and it's going to be what we call, I don't know if you know the phrase Shakespeare. You know, it's going to be walk and talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to walk around.
Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen. And of course, I'm going to end up putting him over. And I think the only time we worked was in a 6-man. And I'm not even sure. You know, if I was in the ring with him, it was probably 30 seconds. But I mean, I like Mike. I have no problem with Mike as a worker at all. I just don't see where me and him would have been a decent fit.
Would have gelled, yeah. What about Twiggy Ramirez?
Oh yeah, I had a great match with that kid. As a matter of fact, I put it on my tape. It's called. You can buy it on Amazon. It's called Chad Austin's matches that you and yours can make love to.
Is this legitimate? Is this a real gimmick?
Well, it's upstairs in my bedroom, but I mean, I haven't really put it on Amazon yet. But it's me and Twiggy's on there, and the best part is I forgot my gear. Like, I brought the wrong suitcase, so I basically wore what I had on, and it was because I was wearing a Donald Duck shirt that had a big quack face on it, I believe it was, and a pair of Zuba shorts and like aqua socks because I live on the East Coast by the water, so I was doing a whole lot of a vacationing at the time.
Yeah.
But I do recall that I did have a good match with that kid. I don't know a whole lot about him honestly, but I do think that I did like that match.
Okay. All right. Well, one more guy I'm going to ask you about, and then we'll wrap things up. What about Tom Brandi?
Oh, geez, Whiz. All right, come on. I mean, is this a rib? I mean, what is he on the other line? What? Now, you know what? I never had to work Tom. I mean, because Tom was normally a baby face, and so was I. But I mean, I could count. I mean, the endless ribs that come from Tom, just, you know, he walks in the locker room and he sees me and he's like, oh, Jesus Christ, another fucking non-payday again. You know what I mean? You got Chad Austin on the show. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like, guys like Tom, guys like Bob Starr, guys like Kalua, you know, you run into them at least once a month. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
And it's part of the cool thing. Like when you run into them, like after you haven't seen them for a month, and you know, you don't have to work them. You know, like I had to work Bundy for like 4 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it was in a row, stuff like that. And and he's one of them crew, like, you know, the Jersey guys.
Yeah.
So after I worked Bundy so long, on the last day, I told him to shut the fuck up. I'm calling the match. And, he called me Skeeter, let me call the match, because I worked it a million times. And, you know, after that, it all becomes like, did you ever see that WWE 24 for WrestleMania?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, did you see where John grabbed Nikki and said, hey, this is supposed to be fun?
Yes, yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's what this is supposed to be.
Right,
so
right.
That's what I was like, you know, I'm working King Kong Bundy, I'm working George the Animal Steel, which was also fantastic, by the way. If you work guys like that, it's supposed to be fun.
Right.
And, you know, you just go out there and have fun. So, I mean, I became, in the 90s, in the early 90s, I was one of them flippy floppy guys. Watch the tape of me. Watch the tape of me doing that dive on a Johnny Hot Body from ECW.
Okay.
That was the highest ring I have ever seen in my entire life. I swear it was 30 foot off the ground. And I did a flip bump off the top rope to the floor, and I literally killed him.
Yeah.
Like I knocked him out, and to the point where he pulled me back into the ring, and he gave me his finish, and somehow Paul edited that out of the TV because that wasn't supposed to be the finish.
Oh.
And he wanted me to go over, but he was so knocked out. And watch the tape; you can see my fingers grabbing a hold of the top rope, like I'm not so sure about this. And I just jumped from that top rope to that goddamn floor at the ECW arena. And I just did a flip and said, "I hope your little squatty ass can catch me." And he couldn't, and I just plowed over top of him. But all in all, I wouldn't change anything because if it wasn't for wrestling, I would have never gotten to Jerry Springer, or I would have never gotten into all the extracurricular stuff that I've gotten to.
Yeah, so let's wrap this up, and I definitely want to have you come back and keep talking. I want to definitely do more, maybe just name association. I throw out a name, you tell me what pops in your head, kind of thing. But before we completely wrap it up, kind of run through the whole Jerry Springer thing, what you were telling me earlier about how you got to the point where you had to tell him to stop calling you. And because I know, like Jamie Dundee, I know him, Shooter Storm, Aubrey St. James, like all these guys that I know that have gone on Springer, and you were kind of the first wrestler to do it, right? Or were you on there?
I wasn't nowhere near the first wrestler to do it. That's how we knew that it was a work.
Uh-huh. So tell me about how that all came about.
Well, me and my promoter guy, Dan McDevitt, we were watching Springer, and we saw the Batten twins.
Okay.
On there. And we both knew who the Batten twins were. And then we started paying more attention, and then we started seeing people on there that we knew, like wrestler-wise. You know, Iron Sheik and people like that. And my promoter contacted the people from Jerry Springer and said, listen, I have a wrestling company. I have a bunch of guys that are good actors / talent that don't have that muscle head look. You know what I mean? That noticeable looks fake look.
Right.
And the guy said, send the guy out. And Danny sent me out there, and the rest was history.
Tell me some of the...
That's a whole other show, Justin. I didn't want to hear about that. There was midgets involved. I mean, there was Tropicana models involved. Yeah, there was everything involved on that trip.
What were some of the names of the episodes you're on? Do you know?
Yeah, I can tell you the names, but I've honestly went back and looked at them, and because of YouTube, people just kind of like override their names.
Uh-huh.
Like if you look like, I think it was Springer Break, like, in Jamaica. I want to say it was Springer Break, or Hedonism 2, and then it was When Audiences Attack, was my most famous show, and then I had two other ones that I don't even know the names of, honestly. I just don't even know. Like you know what I mean? But I know that When Audience Attacks was the show that got me on Entertainment Tonight, a VH1 show about me. What's her name? Mary Hart called me the world's most despicable man. I mean, that's a kudo to any. Tell Joey Ryan did Mary Hart call him the one who was a despicable man? No, she called me that.
Yes, that's something to be proud of right there.
Well, you know what? I had no idea how good I was doing that show. I thought the whole entire thing was a shoot.
Uh-huh.
Like, I thought it was a work. I'm sorry. I thought it was a work. So when I started pissing these people off and they started rushing the stage, I thought I was in real trouble. Like, I thought it was a fake trouble, but I realized I was in real trouble. So
the audience never knew it was a work?
No, they didn't, but I thought they did.
Oh.
So I was really going at them. I was like, promos, man. You know, I was trying to put asses every 18 inches. You know what I mean? I'm trying to sell at the Mid-South Coliseum. and here I was almost getting beat up. But all I gotta say is, man, it was a pleasure talking to you. You brought a whole lot of memories back, man.
Well, I really do want to do this again, man. There's so much more to talk about. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so much more to, like I said, I mean, I want to talk about like this time period and these areas, these promotions. You know, someone like you that has been able to travel and be a part of all of 90s, you know, just what it meant to be a 90s independent wrestler is so fascinating, and it truly is a story that needs to be told. So
it was great being basically what I would call it was in my career. I was a fly on the wall.
Right.
You know, and I mean, I got a Sting story, I got a Vader story, I got a Savage story. I mean, but being a fly on the wall of 20, I guess it was 22 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically being a kid that wasn't trained by anybody in particular. He was trained by an environment. And keep in mind that when we all trained, we didn't have anybody any better than us training us.
Right, yeah. So you guys were just going out there and getting better with each other night after night. Yeah,
I mean, we didn't have like a guy like, you know, what's his name, Shaw from the Monster Factory.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have a guy overseeing all that. We all trained ourselves. As a matter of fact, I also had a hand in training Big Show. But, you know, that's for another show, too.
Yeah, well, we definitely got to do this again. Why don't you where can people find you if they want to buy your Chad Austin's Matches to Make Love To, and if they just want to just follow your everyday life of your 2 and 3 hour work days?
Yeah, I'm not even sure what my Facebook is. I think it's Chad Idol Demira.
I think you're
on Facebook.
Yeah.
And at Twitter, I believe I'm at Chad Hoover Demira, but I think I somehow forgot to put the A on the end of it. So I think it's Chad Hoover Demir. I think that's what my name is on Twitter. But yeah, I don't really do a lot. I want to go back out more. Like, I'm starting to get an itch because I want to go out and see shows because I'm a big fan of the product nowadays.
Uh-huh.
So I'm starting to think like I want to go back out because I don't want to say I have a whole lot to offer in the ring, but I might have a little bit to offer behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm starting to watch. I'm watching as much wrestling as I can. Matter of fact, I'm so far behind watching wrestling, Justin. I just saw that Kevin Nash beat Bob Backlund for the WWE Championship in '94, and I was the only one. My girlfriend walks upstairs, and I got my head in my hands, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I said, "Bob Backlund just lost the WWE Championship." But you can have me back anytime you want, buddy. I look forward to having you on my show.
Yeah, sweet, man. Well, give me 1 second. Let me wrap this up real quick. For everyone that's still listening, you know, make sure you check out Sunday. I'm doing a review show with Johnny Bandana on Clash of Champions 20, the 20 years on TBS show. And then check out the Facebook /90s Indie Pro Wrestling. Let's see. Check out Twitter. Check out YouTube. Just type in WrestleTopia and that'll find everything I've got. So thank you for taking this time, and I'll see you on Sunday.